So let's start with the big one. How does it feel to be the first UA school to win the Global Prize for Environmental Action?
It's incredible. I've been trying to put it into words since we were told last Tuesday that we won it. Everyone keeps laughing at me because I get incredibly emotional every single time I talk about it, so I apologise in advance.
Don't.
It's amazing for the school, but not just for the school. It's amazing for Dubai as well, because we're living in a place that is growing in education, it's growing in infrastructure. So actually to be recognised as a school that is genuinely looking after the students and growing our students for a world that we know is quite environmentally and climately challenged at the moment. I think it's a really big kudos to not just to us, but to Dubai and the education in Dubai as well.
It's like a real kind of beacon of hope, I think, for a lot of people, that it can be done.
Yes.
That if a school chooses to prioritise this, not just for a prize, but for the planet, that it can be done in a really meaningful way. And I wondered if you wouldn't mind, no pressure, to kind of sum up the philosophy, or I guess the mission behind Arbor's focus on eco-literacy, embedding sustainability. What's the origin behind that? What is that philosophy?
So the actual origin comes from Dr. Sard and Dr. Pirin, who are the owners of the school, and their vision was kind of founded when they were at Cambridge University. There's an amazing story behind that. But basically they wanted a school that was not just looking at education in the traditional sense, but also looking at what that meant for the future for the planet and for the children that go to school. We have a real we've got a challenge on our hands in education to not just to be kind of looking at your GCSEs, your A-levels. We're a British curriculum school, and that is important and that's significant. We want our children to succeed.
For anyone who's listening to this and not watching, I just rolled my eyes. Because you can get bogged down in the numbers. You can, and I think it's really important for many measurables and for many parents, but for many people it's not.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
not enough.
It is, and that's what it isn't enough anymore. You need to be thinking about what the future looks like for the students and for the children. And we've got got duty of care, not just to keep children safe from harm and make sure that they come to school and they're happy and that they thrive, but actually as well that they can leave school environmentally conscious and understanding what the problems are and how to have the skill set to solve those problems.
And that's not about scaring them, about saying this is what the problems are. It's like, okay, so what are we going to do, guys? What are we going to do today in the classroom? What are we going to do at home?
Yeah.
What are you going to do once you leave the school?
Absolutely. And I think you've hit the nail on the head there. It can be really overwhelming and actually quite scary, because our generation keeps saying to the younger generation, oh, you've got to solve this. It's your problem to solve. And it's like, well, how do they do that?
Yeah, you're the ones that messed it up.
Yeah, we caused the problem, yet you've got to fix it. But I think that's the reason why everything we do at Arbor, it's that authentic eco lens that goes over everything that we do. So we start them from foundation stage. So that's that like play-based learning and giving the students opportunity to get their hands literally dirty, put their hands in the soil and, plant seeds and understand the environment that's around them, and actually really be in the moment with that. And then it goes throughout the school. So, for example, in Year 3 at the moment, they're looking at what the world is. And we do that by looking at the types of texts that we're actually teaching the children. I had to dress up as an old lady. I'll probably just sport that for the children now if they're listening. And we're looking at the tin forest and what that means for the future. If you're walking into a forest and you're seeing litter all over the floor, and giving the students, well, how would you solve this, and putting them in those real world problems, then it starts to get a little bit more serious as they go through the school. And by the time they get to the secondary school, we've taken the national curriculum for England and we've had a really good look at our curriculum and looked at like the concept curriculum behind it. So for example, they might in Year 7, 8 or 9, they might look at environmental architecture and what that looks like, and so that will be a project that they do across maths and science and geography and in that part of our eco-literacy programme. So it's really tough, and some people say, oh, you can't do everything, as you said earlier, but I think we've just proved you can. And we're very lucky. We have amazing facilities. As you said, we have biodomes, we have outdoor classrooms.
For anyone that hasn't been lucky enough to have a nosy around the Arbor School, Gemma, would you mind kind of giving us a little audio tour?
I am so privileged to work at this school. We have 3 biodomes and they're climate controlled, and each one is dedicated to sort of a different element. One of them is a dedicated science lab mainly for secondary. We have, rainforest phenomena going on in another one. We have animals in another one. But everything what we do, it links to what we're doing in the curriculum. So it's not just a pretty place to visit, it's a working classroom. So we have, for example, if you're doing A-level biology, you have a textbook with all your plants and everything in it, but actually we grow those as well. So the students can go in and touch them and feel them, and they're actually part of what they're actually learning about. So it's amazing.
Oh, as I said, you're just beaming.
I am.
Not just because of this prize, but...
I love my school.
But the pride, yeah. The prize and the pride.
Yes.
It must be really interesting when it comes to some of the student-led projects as well, Gemma, some of the ideas that they're coming up with. What have you noticed, and what are teachers reporting back to you going, actually, these students might be onto something here?
Oh, things like even like our uniform. So looking at things like the sustainable uniform and the way that we actually approach that's come from the students. We've changed our uniform this year for primary to move to like polo shirts, and looking at like the eco and the sustainability in those. We've had students who have pitched to the board about looking at solar power panels on the roof. They really do have a say in what we do and how we run the school. We've looked at food waste in the school, and the students will have done a project on that and the way that we actually approach this in the school. My favourite part is talking to the students, because they have phenomenal ideas, and things as well, like outside of school. They do a lot of our students are very sustainable in the way that they approach life outside of the school. So not just a tick box exercise, and they bring that back into the school as well, and they make suggestions, and it's amazing. It's collaborative, and I think that's like really important.
And it's the environment as well, not just the space that you've created, but also the environment to bring ideas and for those to flourish, because we know what incredible imagination young people have, but in the wrong environment they just get quashed.
Absolutely.
They really, really do.